Ishikawa was at the plate last October the 16th.
Swing, there's a drive deep into right field, way back there. Goodbye! A home run for the game and for the pennant. The Giants have won the pennant.
Now tonight, Waka and the Cardinals return for Game 1 of the series next. The heat wave continued in San Francisco today. Now tonight, the Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals open a 3-game series. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Mike Krukow. Welcome to San Francisco Giants baseball. And the Cardinals, the last time they were here, it was mid-October, and it was a night to remember. Nobody will ever forget what transpired here, although Michael Wacha might have spent a good part of the offseason trying to forget about it. If he did, it has worked out beautifully because he is 15-4. He goes tonight in Game 1 against the Giants' Mike Leake. The Giants won the last 2 games against the red-hot Cubs here the last 2 days. And, Mike, they scored a lot of runs in the process.
Well, the Giants really have been sort of sputtering offensively. If you look what they did the previous road trip into Pittsburgh and St. Louis, they really hit a snag offensively. And the one hit that they could not get was the money hit with runners in scoring position. They found that niche. In the last 2 games of the Cubs series, they won the second game with scoring 4 runs. And then yesterday really flexed their muscles to a tune of 9 runs. Now, they hope it continues. This Cardinal team is loaded with pitching. They rank first in the National League in overall pitching. They have first in with their starter ERA. They're first with their bullpen ERA. So whatever you get against them, you have to grind for, and that'll be the key in the series. Grind on.
Now, we're anxious to see Mike Leake, who's made 2 starts on the road for the Giants, make his first start as a Giant here at home. He always had success here when he faced the Giants, and he had success the last time he faced the Cardinals.
Well, this last start as a Cincinnati Red was against these very same Cardinals, and he went 8 strong innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed. And in regards to pitching here in this ballpark, he's never lost. A perfect 4-0 in this ballpark. So Giants fans finally get a chance to see Mike Leake in the home creams, and hopefully he can get things going here in Game 1 of the series.
Gregor Blanco back in the lineup tonight as little by little the Giants start inching back toward being healthy. Now stay tuned. We'll take you to the Comcast Sportsnet studios for more on tonight's game right after these messages.
The team with more wins than anyone else in baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals, coming to town to take on the San Francisco Giants. First to 3 at AT&T Park. And welcome you inside our Comcast Sportsnet studios. Ahmed Fareed here. Sean Estes, the guy on the mound for the Giants tonight, Sean, is Mike Leake, the guy that got at the trade deadline. But this is the first time that he'll strap him up, play it for the Giants at AT&T Park as a Giant. What do you expect going into this one?
Well, yeah, like you said, Ahmed, first time in front of the Giant fans. This is the guy that they targeted. They really like this guy. He's a very athletic pitcher. Pitched very well up to this point. Had the hamstring injury, but 2 starts, pitched extremely well. This is a guy that has the kitchen sink. He knows how to pitch. He keeps hitters off balance. He's got a fastball, cutter, slider, curveball, changeup. He's got them all. So you never know what to expect when Mike Leake's on the mound as far as pitching goes. But don't blink, because this guy pitches extremely fast. You may miss a pitch, keeps the defense on his toes. So he wants to make a good impression in his first start as a Giant, so hopefully he'll do that. He has to do it against a very tough pitcher in Michael Wacha.
Yeah, I mean, Wacha's a guy that they saw him in the postseason.
in longtime NLCS rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals. Game 1 of a 3-game series is set to start shortly. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Amy Gutierrez, and if you were able to catch yesterday's game, then you already know what I'm going to talk about, because it's all about Kelby Tomlinson, who hit a grand slam. It also just happened to be his very first career home run. Talk about knocking off 2 major league milestones with 1 swing of the bat, and that's why it's time for our BMW Drive, the ultimate driving machine at BayAreaBMW.com. Marlon Byrd was intentionally walked to bring Kelby Tomlinson up. That was a mistake. Came up with the bases loaded and went yard. Solidified a much-needed series win over the Cubs and soaked it in with a loud standing O. Good friend, former roommate Matt Duffy loved it, said it was awesome. He was smiling so big for Kelby, and that standing ovation gave him chills. And I don't think Kelby Tomlinson has stopped smiling since. What a great moment. All right, on to game one of this 3-game series against the Cardinals, and Mike Leake set to make his home debut for the San Francisco Giants. He's on the hill. We've got lineups, we've got first pitch, and we've got John Miller and Mike Krukow. So don't go anywhere.
Just taken the field. Here's the Cardinals starting lineup, brought to you by your Northern California Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. It'll be Matt Carpenter leading it off, third base. A .453 hitter lifetime against the Giants. He's been a nightmare for the Giants over the years. Tommy Pham, a rookie center field. Johnny Peralta, the veteran shortstop. Yadier Molina, the veteran catcher, hitting cleanup. Colton Wong, second base. Stephen Piscotty having a great rookie season since recently being called up for the minor leagues. He's a former Stanford star. Brandon Moss, left field. Mark Reynolds at first base. And Michael Walker, 15-game winner, hits ninth.
On the hill tonight for the Giants will be Mike Leake, making his debut in San Francisco for the Giants. Leake, 5'10", 190-pounder. 27 years old, making his 24th start of the year, 9-6 with a 3.44 ERA, 101 strikeouts against 37 walks. He is a control specialist. You're going to see two types of fastballs and a lot of sink. When he's right, you'll see a lot of ground balls, but he'll also cut the fastball. His velocity will be high 80s, low 90s. He's also he'll throw a curveball, slider, and a changeup. And when he's on, you'll see a lot of knee-high locations with every one of his pitches. Lifetime against these Cardinals, 5-7 with a 4.34 ERA.
Carpenter leads off, and a foul off the third base side. Back into the crowd. We are underway. 71 degrees is the official game time temperature. Off the outside. Now you mentioned Leake's lifetime numbers, and you also mentioned at the top of the telecast the last time he faced the Cardinals, he just shut them down big time. Just off the outside, apparently.
Well, that's Trip Gibson, the plate umpire. I mean, he's a low ball umpire, but he's got real tight corners. It's not an easy strike zone to throw to, and it can bounce around a bit.
That is called a strike on the outside.
Well, you're right. The last time Leake saw these Cardinals, I mean, he 4-hit them through 8 innings and shut them out.
Two and two the count. He struck him out.
Big curveball for the payoff pitch. Let's take a look at the Giants on defense tonight. Playing behind Mike Leake. Starting in their outfield, it'll be Aoki, Blanco, and Bird. That's your outfield. Adrianza and Duffy on the left side, with Crawford getting another night off. Tomlinson and Belt will play on the right side of the infield. Buster Posey, he'll be in the squat, putting down the signs.
Tommy Pham, and he takes a called strike. PHAM, 247 average in the big leagues this year. This is his 24th big league game, and that is strike two call.
It's a 93-mile-an-hour sink right there. And Pham has really been the hottest hitter in this Cardinal lineup. Great series in Arizona.
Just got a piece of it.
One thing too that Giants fans will really grow to like about Mike Leake is how efficient he is and how many outs he'll get 3 pitches or less.
And that, although it had some movement coming back to the plate, off the outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And another strikeout. And that big hook again.
So he's definitely established the sink, and he's definitely established the curveball. Second time here, he has killed a pitcher with, or a hitter with that good hard breaking ball. Just started off in the outside corner, let the movement go out of the zone, and hope he follows. And Pham bites.
So 2 down, nobody on. Here is the veteran Johnny Peralta. Right to Marlon Byrd, and the inning is over. An 11-pitch inning for Mike Leake. Now the Giants. Aoki coming up. And regatta is going on this Orange Friday. Let's take a look at the Giants batting order presented by Audi. Truth in engineering. Aoki leads off left field. Duffy third base. Belt at first base. Posey, the cleanup hitter. The catcher. Marlon Byrd, who hit a 3-run homer yesterday. Right field. Gregor Blanco back in there. And Kelby Tomlinson, who hit his first major league homer. It was a grand slam. The 6th player in San Francisco Giants history to have his first career home run be a grand slam. Ere Adrianza at short, as Crawford is still out. And then Mike Leake, the pitcher, batting 9th.
On the hill tonight for the St. Louis Cardinals will be Michael Wacha. He has really been outstanding all year, making start number 25, 15-4 with a 2.80 ERA. Big guy, 6'6", 210-pounder. He's in his 2nd year at the big league level. You're going to see a low to mid-90s fastball from a high 3/4 release, big curveball, a cutter, and a changeup. He'll throw anything at any time. He can strike out with anyone on the floor.
And he's in the dirt at 95 miles an hour with ball 1. And you might have noticed on those statistical numbers that he's been tougher to hit for left-handed batters than righties. This one is not playable for Brandon Moss, the left fielder. A ball and a strike to Aoki. Can't get it out of there.
Oh, that's going to bug him for 9 innings. Now let the gamer babe figure it out. She is not going to be denied.
Oh, she got it. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's a base hit, right center field. Into the alleyway. Aoki heading for second. Piscotty did well in cutting it off to keep it from going to the wall. Otherwise, it wouldn't have just been a double for Aoki.
Let's take a look at the Cardinal defense, starting in their outfield from left to right. It'll be Moss, Pham, and Piscotty. That's your outfield. The best arm is in right field with Piscotty. Peralta and Carpenter will be on the left side of the infield. Wong and Reynolds on the right side. And Yadier Molina will be in the squad, putting down the signs.
So here's Matt Duffy now. Duffy, 306 average, 344 on base, 10 homers and 60 runs batted in. Off the outside at 96 miles an hour from Wacha. This is, of course, Wacha's first time on this mound since he threw that fateful pitch to Travis Ishikawa, on which the Giants won the National League pennant last October the 16th. In the dirt, and it's 2-0. Wacha had not pitched in that postseason. Cardinals were a little exhausted in their bullpen, so Wacha was brought in, and he got into trouble, and then Ishikawa hit the 3-run homer. The Giants went on to the World Series, and of course won the whole thing, as perhaps you remember.
I do recall.
That's out of play off to the right. Of course, Travis Ishikawa is no longer a Giant. He is a Pittsburgh Pirate and on the disabled list right now. Duffy was a Giant last October, although he was not playing a whole lot. He was a bench guy. 2-1 the count. And that one misses way high, and it's 3-1.
He's a little out of whack right now. One thing that Wacha has been so consistent at this year is pitching to hitters in scoring position. Matt Duffy is one of the leaders in the league. This will be a pretty good matchup right here.
Second in the league in these kind of situations. Excellent pitch recognition there. He started the bat and then immediately stopped it. Ball 4.
Well, you're talking about Travis Ishikawa and Michael Wacha, John. What do you say we take a look at our Ford right choice? For high quality and great MPG, Ford is the right choice for California. This is a 2014 NLCS Game 5. This would send the Giants to the World Series. And Travis Ishikawa put his name right there with Bobby Thompson. The only 2 guys to hit home runs to put their team in the World Series. The difference, Travis Ishikawa's Giants won the World Series. Bobby Thompson's Giants did not.
Yankees beat it back in 1951. Brandon Belt, 2 men on. He's got 17 homers, 60 runs batted in for the year. And Belt trying to put the Giants ahead here. And Wacha throws that changeup, and again, he's having a hard time finding the strike zone here. He's thrown 10 pitches, 6 of them out of the strike zone.
Well, that's the goal. When you face an arm like Walker, I mean, you want to get him to throw pitches. That's how you get him out of a ball game early. Run that pitch count up.
And that curveball is fouled out of play off to the left. 1-2.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy to have, but the reality of it is when you are facing a guy like Walker, because he has 4 good weapons that he can strike out, you do not want to get in a 2-strike count against him. So a lot of guys are going to be aggressive and they're going to swing early in the count. So you say, well, listen, we want to get pitches out of this guy, but yeah, you know, but you don't want to get into a 2-strike hole where he's got 4 ways he can strike you out.
Medium deep center. Tommy Pham coming in to make the catch, and the runners bluff. And he uncorks the long throw to third to Matt Carpenter. So Belt is retired, 1 away. The runners holding at second and first, and Buster Posey will come up. Posey, who has started to swing the bat much more effectively here since the Giants arrived home on Tuesday night. In fact, Buster had an RBI double and a deep fly ball to right Wednesday night, and yesterday afternoon he had a single and a double and a deep fly ball to center. Curveball for a strike. So he started hitting the ball squarely since arriving home.
Now, a much higher back shoulder here in San Francisco than we saw on the previous road trip. He was dipping that back shoulder a bit, which caused him to hit a lot of balls high without backspin.
And that's a foul ball. Another curveball from Waka. Now he's ahead of Buster, 0-2.
That's Patrick O'Rourke, our third base ball dude, making a play.
This is, by the way, there's Patrick. This is the first time that Buster Posey has ever come to the plate against Michael Wacha. 0-2 the count. Aoki at second, Duffy at first. In the dirt, that bounced in front of home plate. Blocked nicely by Yadier Molina.
That was not an easy block either. Fastballs are unpredictable. They can skim, come at you low, take a high hop. You don't know what they're going to do. And the farther out it bounces in front of you, the tougher it is to try and predict. It was a nice play.
2 strikes to Buster. And he struck him out. He went back down there again with a changeup. And this time Buster took off after it, out number 2. And Marlon Byrd now. Byrd, who was acquired by the Giants from a Central Division team, the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds have had quite a rivalry, a very heated rivalry at times with the Cardinals the last few years. Marlon Byrd cannot say that familiarity has helped him in the slightest against Michael Wacha. He's had 16 official at-bats against him and has never had a hit. And it's 0-1.
Oh, he is due.
He saved him until now. And 0 for 13 in regular season, but 0 for 16 overall with 7 strikeouts. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, yesterday against Danny Hare, a guy who had great lifetime numbers against, takes a bullet right up the middle over the center field wall. His 4th lifetime home run against Heron. 3-run shot.
And it's 2-1, 97 miles an hour, but out of the strike zone. That was the 19th pitch of the inning, thrown by Michael Wacha. Aoki led off the inning with a double, then Duffy walked, but he's gotten Belt and Posey out. And that is a foul. 2-2. A fastball that was down and perhaps out of the strike zone. Marlon Byrd has played 6 games for the Giants. He's had 2 homers and 6 RBIs in that time. A little bit of a breeze blowing out towards San Francisco Bay, and he struck him out. with the heat. 96 miles an hour up and away. 2 men stranded for the Giants. Yadier Molina coming up for the Cardinals.
Honda right now at your Honda dealer. And yesterday, Madison Bumgarner, 6 strong innings, 2 hits allowed, 1 earning, 2 walks, and 12 strikeouts on 98 pitches. He was outstanding and really slowed those bats down.
First ball swinging. Yadier Molina is thrown out by Adrianza as we start the 2nd inning. The day after Bumgarner's spectacular performance.
Well, he has had quite an August, going 5-0. 53 strikeouts in 37 innings. A couple of complete games to give his bullpen a rest, and to do that in the month of August, this day and age, that is such an asset to your team.
Colton Wong against Mike Leake. No score in the game, and that's a called strike. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. And that's down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. My favorite part of yesterday, and it's so impressive how dominant he was. He only allowed 2 hits in that game, but was the defensive play that he made. One of the best defensive plays we've seen all year. Aoki out number 2. Amy G is here with us tonight.
All right, gentlemen, let's get fans updated on Angel Pagan. He was here today with the Giants out running. He was evaluated, and he is healthy enough to be activated, but the Giants are holding off. Pagan and GM Bobby Evans having a lengthy discussion in the clubhouse today, deciding he's going to get some more rehab games. He will rejoin the Giants September 1st when those rosters expand. The thought process behind this gentleman right now is that the Giants players that they have moves with are just too critical because of the rash of injuries that the Giants are going through right now. John?
All right. Thanks for the update. Amy G. as Piscotty, the former Stanford star, very impressive rookie who's helped this Cardinal team greatly with all the injuries they've had. The count is strike 1. That was a long foul.
Yeah, very, very impressive strike is what that is.
2 down, nobody on. Hit slowly. Tomlinson. And just in time. A 7-pitch inning for Mike Leake, Gregor Blanco, and then Tomlinson coming up for the Giants. Kyle Schwarber at the plate, and Brandon Belt went on walkabout, and then his throw was behind Bumgarner, and somehow Bumgarner turned this into an out. Wow.
There were so many remarkable parts to that play, but a guy who's 6'5", 250 pounds is just not supposed to have that type of agility, coming across the field, reaching across his body, 360, and then stepping with your left foot. I mean, that's not supposed to happen.
I heard he got a very serious offer from the Smuin Ballet after that.
That's right. Yeah, they have a whole line of people waiting to pot a do with that guy.
The Bold Plate is brought to you by Pete's Coffee, now offering limited edition Giants Clubhouse Blend at your local Pete's and grocery locations. Pick up yours today. Just when we thought we've seen everything from Bumgarner, his pitching, his hitting, then we see something that we hadn't seen. And it's not, they don't work on that play. Not the way it was run yesterday.
No.
And he ad-libs well. Blanco behind third. Carpenter in foul ground.
Well, the Cincinnati Reds are coming to AT&T September 14th through the 16th. And all three games are night games starting at 7:15. On Wednesday, September 16th, the first 20,000 fans will receive a World Champions belt buckle, courtesy of Scottsdale Convention and Visitors Bureau. You can get your tickets at sfgiants.com/tickets.
Tomlinson, and it's 0-1. Waka up and in at 93 miles an hour. Kelby hitting .346 for the Giants in 52 Major League at-bats. His first home run was yesterday. Now he bluffs the bunt, takes just off the outside.
Yadi Molina will really stretch his targets wide. He has a pitcher out there that can consistently put the ball in his glove. He'll stretch the target, and he'll try and stretch the strike zone. That's the whole idea behind it.
2-1 the count to Tomlinson. That's on the outside. 2-2. What made the whole thing even sweeter, if that's possible, that your first Major League homer is a grand slam, was the fact that they had walked the man in front of him, Marlon Byrd, intentionally. They said, no, we'd rather face that guy. He slashes it foul. Oh, he all but threw the bat at that one.
Well, here's the pitch we're talking about. I mean, it wasn't a hanger either. Russell throw a breaking ball. I mean, that's right at the base of the strike zone, even perhaps down below, but he backspinned it from that location. And that's what was impressive about that at bat.
Tomlinson fighting off a high, hard one there from Walker to keep it at 2-2. One out, nobody on. Adrianza is on deck. That's off the outside.
A lot of umpires will give that just because of how it was received by the catcher Molina. He sets his target and it's not even behind the plate. But when a pitcher throws and he doesn't move that glove, umpires will bite.
And he walks him. He threw him a curve on 3-2, which I guess is sort of an honor that you're a raw rookie and the 15-game winner curves you on 3-2. Giants baseball is brought to you in part by Toyota. Toyota's Labor Day deals end soon. Get 0% APR plus no payments for 90 days on 14 popular models. See all the big clearance event specials at buyatoyota.com. Here's Adrianza, and a foul back out of play.
Adrianza's still looking for confidence, and he just has not been able to find it. And he just hasn't made that much solid contact on the sweet spot of the bat.
Really? 1-1 the count to him.
Long arm swinger. He gets right on top of the plate. I mean, I think he needs to back off the plate. I think he's too close.
Little flare, and Carpenter takes this one. 2 down.
And that's where teams are pitching, and they're pitching him inside. I mean, that ball goes right up the bat between the label and the sweet spot. And that's about all you're going to do. Pop it up or break your bat.
Now Mike Leake. There was a time when Leake was one of the best hitting pitchers in the game, but this year he has not had that much success as a hitter. Leake hitting only 137 hits, 54 at bats. He does have 3 doubles and a homer.
Well, you're going to get a good at bat from him. I mean, he definitely knows what he's doing, and he's not a bad breaking ball hitter either. When you pitch to Mike Leake, you have to pitch to him like he's an everyday player.
He has hit a home run in this ballpark back at near the end of June in 2012, 3 years ago, against Matt Cain. He's had 5 major league homers, 2 last year, and one of those was against Garrett Cole. So he's hit some homers against some top pitchers. It's a strike call to the outside at 95. Leake, as recently as 2012, hit 295 in a season, and his career batting average before this season was 234. 2 down, runner at first, no score, and that's over the outside again.
If you're a lifetime 200 hitter, you can hit. If you're a pitcher, I mean, hitting 200 is like hitting 300 as an everyday player.
Madison Bumgarner, who may be at the top of the list for hitters who pitch. That's the strikeout for Waka to end the inning. His 3rd strikeout of the game. On to the 3rd inning, and Leake will go back to the mound with Brandon Moss coming up. One 1-800-4-INJURY. If you've been injured in an accident, call 1-800-4-INJURY or go to 1-800-4injury.com. Matt Cain today placed on the disabled list with some nerve irritation in his right elbow, and Chris Heston will be brought up to make the start on Sunday, the finale of this series. So that is the latest. The other part of the injury report, it does not involve a trip to the disabled list. Brandon Crawford still down with the strain on his side. There's ball 1 to Brandon Moss. Moss hit his first home run as a Cardinal last night. He's had 9 hits and 50 at bats for St. Louis. And that cutter misses 2-0. There's Brandon Crawford sitting between Lincecum and Bumgarner. Big hop. Belt takes it himself. 1 away. We saw Joe Panic before the game, Mike.
Well, early before the game, I mean, we're starting to see him do regular baseball activities now. Taking some ground balls. He's getting his rhythm back. And every day he takes ground balls, they extend the number of balls that he fields. And then they do a wait and see as to how his back is going to respond. And that's how you put a ball player back together.
He's alongside Hunter Pence, who's on the disabled list, along with Panic and the head trainer, Dave Gresser, on the left side of the screen there. Good to see Panic back out there. Mark Reynolds, powerful right-handed hitter. And it's off the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. No score here in the third. The Giants are figuring that as long as he has no setbacks, this one is going to have to be in a hurry. Adrianza, and he got him. It looked like the ball actually tipped off the glove of Leake. Adrianza played it in heavy traffic and got his man.
Well, as soon as that ball came up off a home plate, it was going to be a difficult play. Now Reynolds, and there's that tip you're talking about. What a nice adjustment there on the fly from Adrianza, and a beautiful exchange. Watch how quickly he gets with this ball, even in slow motion. Off the right foot, a strike, and Reynolds denied by about 2 feet. And watch the reaction from Mike Leake. I love it.
So 2 down, and here is Walker, and that's a called strike. There was a lot going on, but Adrianza seemed to limit all of the other distraction to there's the ball and grab the ball and make the play, despite about 12 other guys about to crash in on him.
I think he got a nice little hop to do something on. I mean, that's the beauty of Leake's contribution.
In right field, Tomlinson up to his feet, and that's the inning. And that's a very nice play by Kelby Tomlinson. And from Leake to Adrianza to Belt, just in time for the second out of the inning. Top of the order coming up for the Giants. At McDonald's with the McD app. Download the McD app on your smartphone and get great deals at participating Greater Bay Area McDonald's. Visit McDapp.com. I'm John Miller with Mike Krukow, your Giants telecasters on NBC Bay Area and the Giants Television Network on this Orange Friday in the city by the bay. And we've got a scoreless game going to the last of the third, and a very strong beginning for Mike Leake, who has retired every Cardinal who started this game. 9 in a row to start his night. Aoki, who hit a double against Walker to right center to begin the first inning. Then Walker eventually settled in, and the Giants did not score. So here is Aoki to try it again. Ball 1.
It's Friday night, and the troops are psyched.
And a changeup in there for a strike. 1-1 the count. What was it about them that gave that away?
Well, I just had a feeling.
And he tries to bunt. It was a big curveball, and he missed it.
It looked to me like he came out wanting to push the bunt down the third base line. Then right there at the end, when he saw how close Carpenter was, it's almost like he changed as to what he wanted to do in midstream, and wound up trying to drag it. In the end, he just got nothing but a whiff.
1-2. And he just got a piece of that changeup. Aoki is my favorite, but it seems like he violates all the things that hitting coaches teach, doesn't he? Or at least a lot of them.
Well, you're right. I mean, it looks like he's falling off the plate.
Carpenter, and he can't handle it. Aoki saves it first.
It's got to be an error.
He's trying to be aggressive on it. Get to that hop before it ate him up, and he couldn't quite get to it.
You're exactly right. I mean, he's just trying to get to the short hop so he'd have an easier play. You can see how he started to position his lower body to get in line with first base, and everything was going good except couldn't get a grip. So the Giants get a break, and Walker right back in the stretch.
That's the first error. Now, see, if it were up to me, Mike, I would score that as a forced error. He still gets an error, but because we're no longer totally tied to just batting average as a measure of a hitter, that on-base percentage is even more important. When you have a guy with speed, he can force an error. Guys have to hurry a little bit more for a guy like Aoki.
Well, you do. I mean, they definitely put pressure on the defense, especially the guys on the left side of the infield.
So when that speedy guy gets on base, I think by an error, I think his on-base average should reflect that. And that's all I had to say about that. 0-2 the count to Matt Duffy. I remember one year Bill James, in one of his early baseball abstracts back in the 80s, when our good friend Steve Balboni was a big slugger for the Kansas City Royals. He's a scout for the Giants now. He reached base all season twice, 2 times. Aoki back to the bag. Now, he was a big guy who hit home runs. He wasn't a fast guy. On the same team in the same lineup was Willie Wilson, maybe the fastest runner in the game at that time. He reached base on 27 errors for the same team in the same lineup. But his on-base average did not reflect any of them. 1-2.
I mean, it really is an element that absolutely can cause a lot of distraction defensively when you have a guy with great speed. And guys have to hurry the exchange. They don't have their footwork time because they have to shorten it. And the result is they're out of rhythm and they make errors.
The curveball, left center, and Moss out number 1.
Well, Tuesday, September 15th is Filipino Heritage Night. Your special event package will include a limited edition Filipino Giants t-shirt, admission to the Filipino Heritage Night pregame party, and a ticket to the game against the Reds. Go to sfgiants.com/special events.
After this weekend series, the Giants go on the road for a good long while. They start in LA for 3, Colorado for 4, and then 3 in Arizona before they get home. Brandon Belt. This could be 2. Wong to second. There's 1 and none. They get nobody. Johnny Peralta couldn't handle it. And he gets the error.
Well, again, perhaps Peralta thinking he had to hurry if he's going to have any chance at all to get the double play. And the high flip from Wong. And when Peralta reached out, he took his eye off the ball, and he winds up dropping it. So 2 errors, and it's a big-time opportunity here as the Giants bring up the heart of their lineup.
Buster Posey struck out his first time. Look out, he got hit. 95 miles an hour near the left elbow.
He does not have a protective piece. I think this is one of the most painful places to get hit. Right above the elbow at the base of the trapezius, or the triceps rather, and it absolutely ignites both ways from your elbow, up your shoulder and down to your fingertips. And you don't even want to make a fist. And that is the spot right there. And tomorrow I would not be surprised to see him have a protective piece on it. And it takes a while for that one to go away. That's mid-90s fastball hitting you on the button. Wow.
So the bases are loaded for Marlon Byrd. 2 Cardinal errors and now a hit batsman to load the bases. Curveball deep into center. Pham at the wall. Goodbye! A grand slam! Marlon Byrd's first hit against Michael Wacha is a slam. 4-0 Giants. The 8th grand slam hit this year by the Giants, and that is an all-time Giants record in 133 years of Giants baseball. No Giants team has ever hit that many grand slams in one season before. And Marlon Byrd, his 3rd homer, he's got 10 RBIs in 7 games as a Giant. And they want him to take a bow. They're still on their feet here as Blanco comes out. Back to the screen. And Byrd does come up to the top step and doff his cap in appreciation.
That is a strong-handed swing of the bat to take advantage of a hanging breaking ball and go right out to Centro. That's 2 times he's gone El Centro in 2 days.
Back to Wacha. And that is out number 2.
There's the high breaking ball we were talking about. It's just a mistake from Wacha. Right at the letters. This is the location, elevation on contact. But you better bring some bat speed to knock it out to center field from that location. And if you watch Byrd, he makes it look effortless. And that's just good hand strength.
Pham, the center fielder, did everything he could. He ran out of room, made the leap, and it was beyond him. Base hit. Kelby Tomlinson, who hit the grand slam yesterday with a single to right to go with his walk from the 2nd inning. It's not just a San Francisco record in the entire long history of the New York and San Francisco Giants. That is the all-time record. The 51 Giants and 54 Giants hit 7. That was their record in New York. The 1970 San Francisco Giants hit 7. The 1998 Giants hit 7. And now here in 2015, 8 grand slams. Most in the majors and most in Giants history. And that's a base hit for Adrianza. Tomlinson stops at second.
Yeah, he's excited about it. I mean, he's tried to downplay the importance that he has in the lineup, saying, you know, I know what I can do. I just have to stay within the boundaries of what I can do and not try to do too much. It sounds cliched, but you really have to find a way to take some of the pressure off yourself coming into an environment where the expectation is so high. But boy, has he delivered.
0-1 to Mike Leake. Marlon Byrd. This only 7 games. He's hit 3 already. He hit a 3-run shot yesterday, which really, with all due respect to Tomlinson's grand slam, his 3-run shot was the big hit. Curveball misses. And of course, he hit a home run in his very first at bat as a Giant in Pittsburgh a week ago tonight. It's hard to believe he's only been a Giant since 1 week ago tonight. He's had a rather large impact in a short time. And the Giants were hoping that maybe he could give them at least a reasonable facsimile of Hunter Pence in Pence's absence. And he's looked like Hunter Pence when Hunter Pence is hot. Back out of play. Pretty good rip there by Leake. 2-2. There's Hunter Pence. At the point where Pence is able to get back in the lineup, and they're not close to that right now. He is still not able to swing a bat or those kind of baseball related activities. But they'll both be in there a lot of the time. Marlon Byrd now with 22 home runs this year. And the changeup for the strikeout. Marlon Byrd with the bases loaded. 5-5 baby, as Russ Hodges used to say. 4-0 Giants on to the 4th inning. Is triple pay giveaway. It's easy. Just download the NBC Bay Area app for iPhone. Open to get the code, then tap the screen to enter at NBCBayArea.com/contests. Don't miss your chance to win $1,000. Enter NBC Bay Area's triple pay giveaway now. So here is Leake back to work with a 4-0 lead. Top of the order for the Cardinals here in the 4th inning. Matt Carpenter takes a called strike. By the way, the 8th grand slam of the year, as you see the score on the hand-operated AT&T Park scoreboard for out of town. Dodgers and Cubs 1-1, top of the 4th inning in LA. And that is in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Off-speed pitch there. Marlon Byrd's grand slam was his 8th personally. The 8th of the year for the Giants, the 8th of his career at the same time. And that's a foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Carpenter, who struck out his first time. Well, Marlon Byrd, he was acquired for the stretch run by the Pittsburgh Pirates year before last. And he was a key ingredient as to the Pirates making that postseason. That's a base hit to center. Very solidly hit by Carpenter. first hit, first base runner for the Cardinals. Now let's go down to Amy G.
All right, John. Well, not only is Marlon Byrd quickly becoming a fan favorite, he's becoming a clubhouse favorite, a team favorite as well. Yesterday, of course, you'll recall Kelby Tomlinson went yard for a grand slam, his first career home run. When he came back out to the field, he had a standing ovation and a solo shot on the scoreboard, of which Marlon Byrd said, "Hey, take a look at it, soak it in." He told me after the game that when Kelby saw himself, the smile came out. He was so happy for him. He was trying to hold it in. But that's impossible, gentlemen.
Just not possible.
I think it's easier to hold back a tear than it is to hold back a smile.
Tommy Pham with a runner at first, and for the first time in this game, Mike Leake working out of the stretch.
It is a bit of an adjustment the longer it takes you to get into your stretch. It is a different release. One thing we have really enjoyed in watching Mike Leake over the years is the athleticism with which he plays his position. I mean, after you throw a pitch, you become an infielder, and you want to be in a good position after you throw the pitch to field your position, and he is. And he's very quick. He covers the bunt plays and the swing and bunt plays very well. And like a lot of sinker ballers, you really do yourself a favor when you can hold runners on, and he's very good. His unload time very quick. Not an easy guy to steal off of.
One ball, two strikes to Tommy Pham, the rookie. Johnny Peralta on deck. And right through Buster, and to second base goes Carpenter. Scored as a wild pitch.
Now it's a big 90 feet. When you're a sinker ball, you're always one pitch away from getting 2 outs. And when you lose that because of a wild pitch, you are mad at yourself.
Two and two to Tommy Pham.
Just missed. And you saw the reaction from Leake. Kind of shook his head just a bit. Two things that tick you off when you're a pitcher. Number one, that he didn't get called a strike. And number two, how can that guy not swing at that pitch?
Full count now, 3-2. And he gets a walk.
So the Cardinals gave the Giants 3 gifts of 90 feet in the bottom of the third, and the Giants took advantage of it. And here, the Giants are giving those 90-foot gifts back. A wild pitch and now a walk. And here comes the beef.
Johnny Peralta, third place hitter in the lineup. He got 16 home runs this year. Yadier Molina, the veteran catcher, on deck. Nobody out. Duffy the second one, and that's all.
Duffy had an option. He could have come over and stepped on the bag. The thing about Duffy, I'm thinking that he knows that Peralta runs well. If he goes to his right, steps on third, he doesn't think he has as good a chance to get the runner at first base than if he goes to second first, and that was the decision. It's all right in front of him there, but he thought he had a chance to get the double play, and his best shot was going to second. The problem with it is Tommy Pham had a huge lead at first base, runner at first and second. That runner at first is going to really get off the bag. And Tomlinson had no time.
So here is Yadier Molina. And he had an excellent series against the Giants in St. Louis when the Giants were there. It was last week, and Molina hit a couple of home runs, including what proved to be a game winner. In the final game of that series, in the 8th inning, he broke a 3-3 tie with a homer. He also homered in the first game of that series, which the Cardinals won 2-1. So Yadier Molina has not been hitting many home runs so far this year. He's only had 4 home runs all year, but 2 of them in 3 games against the Giants. Grounded to short his first time. He is a double play threat if he hits a ground ball. Bell can't get it. It's through. Base hit, and that's a run.
Boy, how many times have we seen Molina do that in St. Louis, go the opposite way? When he pulled the ball, he hit the ball of the park. When he went to right field, he'd do just what he did here. Find a hole on that right side. Frustrating for Leake. I mean, it is the ground ball he was pitching for, but this one finds a hole.
Well, Bell did everything he could. That was just right through that space between the first and second baseman. Javier Molina. And he's ever since he was a rookie, he was a tough guy to face with runners in scoring position. He's very adept at putting the ball in play. Molina's 54th RBI this year. He's only had the 4 homers. Now Colton Wong, 4-1 the score. The Giants leading. Wong lined out to left his first time. And we have some coastal fog that is entering overhead here at AT&T Park. Way inside, almost hit him.
Yeah, the air conditioning finally got here. Warm day here at the ballpark during batting practice. The ball was flying out of here.
2 balls, no strikes to Wong. 2 men on, 1 man out, a run in. A little bit low. Now it's 3-0. Piscotty, who has been one of the Cardinals' best bats since being brought up from the minor leagues, is on deck. But you have to be very careful with Wong. He's got excellent power. That's a strike. Wong beat the Giants. The only game the Cardinals won in the league championship series last October was game 2, which was in St. Louis, and he ended that game with a walk-off homer. 3-1 the count to Wong. Right to second. Here's one, and Adrianza cannot get the double play. The inning should have been over, and that's huge. Gives the Cardinals an extra at bat.
An extra out. As fast as Wong is, perhaps that may have caused a little bit of the exchange to be a bit quicker than normal. But that's just a play you work on every day. And he's here because of his glove. And when you don't make a play like that and you're a glove guy, that'll eat away at you.
So the Cardinals with the extra, as you put it, out. And here is Piscotty to try and cash in on it for St. Louis. He grounded out to second his first time. That is going to go to the wall, and a couple of runs are going to score. Peralta has scored. Wong racing around third. He is in to score. Piscotty, first ball swinging. And it's now a 3-run inning for the Cardinals. 4-3 Giants.
Well, 2-seam fastball. They set the outside target. You see the mistake across the plate inside. And Piscotty looking middle in, puts a charge into it just past the outstretched arm of Aoki, who had been shading towards the left center field gap. It's so maddening when you set a defense and you try and go to the tendency, and then the guy hits right to where if you'd have played straight up, you'd have caught that standing still. But such is the game of baseball. Dave Righetti sensed a bit of frustration now with Mike Leake going to come out and try and calm things down. Boy, when you make an error or you don't make a double play that should have been made like Adrianza, and the next guy up hits a double and 2-run scores, you want to hide behind the rosin bag.
Ron Wotus, the Giants bench coach, alongside Bruce Bochy. Wotus, who of course is also the infield coach. Here is Brandon Moss, and he's put in a lot of hours behind the scenes working with all these infielders. Brandon Moss. And a base hit could tie this game now. Piscotty's a fast runner. And the possible tying run at second base. Moss grounded out to first his first time. Well, both teams got some miscues on the infield. Cardinals had 2 actual errors in the third. The Giants put 4 on the board. 2-0. The other aspect of this is this has cost Leake a lot of pitches.
Well, he was way ahead in the pitch count. I mean, he's got 49 now. Next one will be 50. But at the end of 4 innings, you want to be 60 or less. So that's not really a big concern.
2-0 the count. And right over past Mark Reynolds, who's on deck. Reynolds goes over to retrieve it. 2-1 the count to the dangerous Brandon Moss. All told, including his time with the Cleveland Indians in the American League this year, he's hit 16 home runs. Michael Wacha, who gave up 4 in the third, all unearned, but his team is right back in the game now. Out in right field, Tomlinson. And the inning is over. 4-3 Giants. On to the last of the fourth. Last of the fourth inning, the Giants who put 4 on the board in the third, and the Cardinals came right back with 3. And one thing about the St. Louis team, they have the best record in the majors by far. If they go roughly 500, they have 35 games to go. If they go 18-17, they win 100 games, even if they finish in a mediocre fashion. That's how good they've been. And when you make mistakes against them, they capitalize on it more often than not. Here's Aoki. As that inning appeared to be over, Wong hit the double play ball. He hit it sharply right at Tomlinson to end the inning to make it with the score 4-1, but the Giants did not get the double play. And Adrianza just couldn't get a grip on the ball. He just kind of flew out of his glove, and they only got the 1 out. And with that extra out, the Cardinals put 3 total on the board in the inning. That's why the Cardinals have been so good. They do things like that all the time. Of course, the Giants received 2 errors and a hit batsman in the third inning and scored 4 runs. Wacha, and that's all for Aoki. First time Aoki's been retired. He had a double, and he reached on the first of the Cardinal errors. It was by Matt Carpenter in the third inning. So here's Matt Duffy now. Dodgers won, Cubs won, at Dodger Stadium. Clayton Kershaw is on the mound for the Dodgers. Jason Hamill for the Cubs in that game. Anthony Rizzo hit a home run, pretty good. Anthony Rizzo, a left-handed hitter, went deep against the left-hander Kershaw. That's the Cubs run in that game.
You could put that on your resume, can't you?
I definitely would. Jimmy Rollins got a base hit for the Dodgers in the 3rd inning, and Chase Utley hit a triple. That was the Dodgers run. Down the right field line, and foul.
Somebody has to make a play down there. E10. He's going to think about that for the next 7 years, maybe 8.
He lost it in the lights.
He is not happy. Hey, if you bring your glove, you catch the ball, meat.
1-2 the count. And very softly, Peralta, barehanded pickup. It doesn't matter. Base hit for Duffy.
Just a swing and bunt. Peralta knows he's got to come in, do or die with Duffy's speed, even with a sore ankle. An easy beat him out. And he gets his first knock of the night.
Duffy, a walk in the 1st inning, so he's been on base twice in 3 trips to the plate. And now Brandon Belt, who has hit a fly ball to center and reached on an error. And the Cardinals tried to start a double play and a ground ball by Belt to second, and they ended up getting nobody out. There's Mike Matheny. And alongside David Bell, a former Giant, both former Giants. Matheny, the manager, and David Bell is his bench coach. Leaning the wrong way, but he made it back in time.
Well, Mark Reynolds is saying we want to look at that one. That was close.
There's David Bell on the phone to the video room.
And he had a lean going to second. That's what created the opportunity.
Gabe Morales on top of the play there.
I don't know if there's enough from that angle.
I think he was back in time. That first angle we saw.
This may be a little more revealing. No, he made it back. That will not be challenged. It's close. Just that little bit of a lean to second is what set him up for failure. And if had it been a better throw from Waka, they would have had him.
One ball, no strikes to Brandon Belt. Buster Posey on deck.
We talked about Waka 6'6". I mean, he's a tall pitcher, and normally guys 6'6" are not that quick out of the stretch. He is. He's got a real good move on his slide step.
That's called a strike. It looked like Yachty was thinking about a pickoff throw to first base, but he couldn't hang on to the ball.
Well, that inside fastball to a left-hander, when a catcher catches it, he reaches across his body. He just naturally cocks his shoulder and puts himself in a position to get a throw off. And he thinks first base because of that location. Had he come up with a cleaner exchange, he may have made the throw.
Center field, Pham. Out number 2.
There was serious carry in this ballpark tonight. Not many times does this ballpark play small, but when you start to get towards September, it's when it starts to get a little bit smaller, and you see it play the rest of the year. 3rd inning, Buster Posey took a fastball right above the elbow on the tricep, and that one hurt. It lowered the bases, set up a big inning, and now he's got a pad on his arm.
Duffy safely back. Posey has struck out, and then he got hit by the pitch, which was just ahead of Marlon Byrd's grand slam. He got hit to load the bases. The third baseman, Matt Carpenter, is almost on top of the foul line. And look where he is over there. Right to the shortstop. Peralta to Wong for the force out on Duffy at second. That's the inning. On to the fifth now. 4-3 Giants. Zero % APR plus no payments for 90 days on 14 popular models. See all the big clearance event specials at buyatoyota.com. Quite a month for Madison Bumgarner. In 5 starts, he's 5-0 with a 1.43 ERA, 53 strikeouts, 4 walks allowed. And at the plate, 5 hits, 18 at bats, a .278 average, including 2 homers, a double, and 4 runs batted in. Also, he is great with kids. he's a very loyal person.
Got 2 cats out of the tree this last week. He really should be the player of the month. I mean, that's just a remarkable accomplishment just from your pitching statistics alone, but then you throw your batting stats on top of it. He had a good month.
2-0 from Leake to Mark Reynolds.
Oh yeah, Lucille very popular. Ishamredi very excited. Lucille will do that to you. And they can do that. If you leave the camera on for an hour, they will do that for an hour.
Three and 0 the count. Now 3-1. You have to be very careful with Reynolds. He's still got enormous power. Reynolds has 11 home runs this year. Also strikes out quite often. 3-2. 4-3 Giants here in the 5th inning. They've gone to the top of the 6th inning in LA now. It's still 1-1 down there. Cubs and Dodgers. That's out of play.
Leak a very quick pace. Well, he's a get it go guy. And Buster will control the rhythm. I mean, he's really waiting for a bit before he puts down the sign.
So a strikeout. Reynolds didn't think so.
Well, it looks like a backup slider. It didn't do a whole lot. You look at where this thing lands. I mean, it looks like it's away from Posey. It looks like it's high, but it is in the strike zone.
0-1 to Walker.
Well, that's a huge call, though, getting that strikeout and not getting in the stretch for the leadoff walk.
0-2 now. Walker grounded out to second his first time. One and two. Cardinals began the day with a 4.5 game lead over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won its game over Colorado. We've got a boatload of Giants fans that has come sailing into the Cove. And Leake puts away Walker, his fourth strikeout.
Well, for comprehensive coverage of everything Orange and Black, check out pregame live and postgame live before and after every Giants telecast on Comcast Sportsnet, authentic Bay Area sports. Game tomorrow on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area, and you can check in at 12:30. Game 2, it'll be Ryan Vogelsong on the hill for the Giants.
Lance Lynn will go for the Cardinals tomorrow. 105 first pitch. 0-1 the count to Matt Carpenter. He started the 3-run fourth inning rally with a single to center. And that's a little bit low on the outside. Washington lost tonight to Miami in Washington 4-3. But the Mets were beaten in interleague play by the Red Sox in extra innings. Tomlinson, 3 up, 3 down for Leake here in the 5th. Marlon Byrd, he hit a grand slam his last time. He's coming up. Giants Clubhouse Blend is now available at your local Pete's and grocery locations. Pick up yours today. You think those guys having a good time, Mike?
Oh, yeah. It's Friday night. The first week of school is over with. They're at a ball yard watching a big league hardball game. Oh, life is good.
Got cool hats they're wearing.
Yeah.
Got some fries. Got a dog. So here's Marlon Byrd. He struck out in the first inning, at which point he was 0 for 17. Lifetime against Michael Walker. Then, with the bases loaded in the third, he had a grand slam. His first hit against Walker. Right back to the screen.
He is right on him.
Giants' first grand slam this year was hit by Casey McGee, who is now back with Miami. Brandon Crawford, Buster Posey, 2 slams. Hunter Pence, Hector Sanchez, Kelby Tomlinson yesterday, and Marlon Byrd tonight. 8 slams for the Giants. the most in the history of the Giants in a single season.
Well, you saw the graphic. That's the first grand slam that Michael Wacha has ever given up.
And the changeup struck him out.
Let's take a look at that grand slam, a hanging breaking ball. And Martin Bird knew as soon as he hit it, it had a chance. And the way the ball is carried tonight, no doubt about it. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs since he's joined the Giants. It's making an impact, especially when you do it against a guy like Wacha.
So he's only hit the 1 hit against Wacha. And it was a grand slam. Gregor Blanco at the plate now. 1 out, nobody on. The Giants ahead 4-3 in the last of the 5th inning. Blanco is fouled out to third and hit a comebacker. Little bloop, shallow left field, and that is in there. Base hit.
Well, Saturday, September 12th is Lego Day here at AT&T Park. Your special event package will include admission to a pregame Lego Day build experience, a limited edition Giants player Lego mini build, and a ticket to the game taking on the Padres. Go to sfgiants.com/special events.
Well, Brandon Moss could not catch up to that pop fly. Neither could the shortstop Johnny Peralta. Blanco aboard. Here's Tomlinson. Ball 1. Tomlinson has walked and singled. So he's been aboard twice. Now with a .358 average in the big leagues. In his 53 at bats, he's also had 4 walks. He's got a .404 on base average. So it's just a brief time that he's been here, but filling in for the injured Joe Panik, he has just done a great job with the bat. Panik been a key man on the Giants offensively, as well as his outstanding defense. But Joe Panik hitting .309, a .374 on base average, and to get this kind of production out of Tomlinson has really been a boost.
Yeah, a revelation, and he really is earning himself more playing time even when Panik comes back. Start rotating him into the next utility type player. He can play all 3 positions in the infield.
2-0 the count.
And the 3 I'm referring to are second base, shortstop, and third base. And you can put him in the outfield.
Blanco at first, who runs well. Cardinals have always, ever since Yadier Molina, been a tough team against which to steal. And it's 2-1.
There's a 2-0 changeup right there. It was a good one.
Cardinals have only allowed 39 steals this year, and they've thrown out 24 attempting to steal. Mike Matheny, former catcher. Yadier Molina was looking over to Matheny before that pitch. And it's 2-2.
Back it up. And a changeup. So you see guys in the minor leagues that throw just as hard as guys in the big leagues. They don't lack for stuff. But what happens when you get up here, you have guys that have the ability to control 4 or 5 speeds and throw them in any count. And that's the difference.
Strike 3 called. Outside, right at the knees, right in the corner.
Well, and he set that up. I mean, think of it. He's ahead in the count 2-0. He throws 2 changeups. He swings through them. Now he establishes the changeup, and he takes 95 and puts it right on the outside corner at the knees. Good look with that. And another example of Molina stretching out that strike zone. But he did not move his glove, literally.
And Adrianza hits that off his foot or leg. Strike 1, foul ball. Adrianza has popped out to third and singled. It was right off the top of his right foot. Adrianza trying to shake it off.
Let's see where it gets him.
Oop, ankle.
I think it completely missed the protective piece there. In fact, all these years with protective pieces, I've never seen one hit off of the protective piece.
1-1 the count. He's back in there now. And Blanco back to the bag at first.
I mean, it's not really a situation where you expect a steal because of the pitcher on deck, but with Mike Leake's reputation as a good hitting pitcher, you'll see guys steal hitting seventh in the Giants lineup if you're a base stealer like Gregor Blanco is. Normally you have a weak hitting pitcher, seventh place hitter steals, whoop, ball forward, walk the eighth place guy and take your chances against the weak hitting pitcher, but you don't do that against a guy like Leake. He can hit.
2-1. Blanco, who missed a couple of days with a hip strain. The Giants said that he reported today and was back at 100%. Pop up. Brandon Moss. One hit and one left for the Giants. On to the sixth inning now. Pham, Peralta, Molina coming up.
And we are focusing on AAA outfielder Mac Williamson, who had a heck of a week last week. He's one to watch, folks. In 7 games, he hit .385, had 3 home runs, and 13 RBI. He also happens to be a very good friend of Matt Duffy. He told me today, gentlemen, that they talk every day. Matt Duffy saying about Mac that he works extremely hard. Sometimes he's even too hard on himself. But his recent success, Matt Duffy attributes it to him being more relaxed and believing in himself. Guys.
All right, Mac Williamson. We saw him in the spring. Looked pretty good.
He's finally healthy. Put up a nice year.
Tommy Pham leads off. And off the glove of Tomlinson. That was a wicked hop. That ball was just scalded. And Tommy Pham is aboard, leading off the Cardinals' 6th inning.
That's a do-or-die play if you're going down to your backhand. It's top spin liner, when that thing comes up, it can really explode on you.
That might have hit off his wrist.
You just try and stay with it. He sort of slides into it. But like I say, do or die.
Johnny Peralta. And it's 0-1. Cardinals have 4 hits now. The Giants have 6. Yadier Molina, the cleanup hitter, is on deck. Giants got 4 runs in the third. The Cardinals got 3 in the fourth. 4-3 Giants. Safely back is Pham. Pham has 1 steal. This is only his 24th game. He does run well. Tomlinson well over toward the middle at second base. Big hole open on the right side.
Every once in a while you'll get a sign from a catcher that's pretty obvious as to what he wants you to do. Watch the right hand of Posey. Hey, throw to first. Posey can see. I mean, the catcher's looking, and he can see that base runner on first base getting a big lead.
I love how you can see those signs.
Yeah, you know, you learn to pick things like that, John.
When it looks so obvious like that, I'm thinking it must mean something else. I thought it meant do anything except throw to first right now. Bruce Bochy relaying some signs to Buster Posey. 2-1 the count. Keep an eye on Pham here. He's not running. And a foul. Back out of play. 2-2. Dodgers have gone ahead of the Cubs now with a run home in the last of the 6th inning, leading 2-1. Two and 2 the count. In right field, Marlon Byrd going back. Right at the edge of the track. And Pham is going to test him. And he makes it. That might have caught Marlon Byrd by surprise.
Well, the Bay Area is America's #1 dining destination, and you can learn how the gold rush, 2 world wars, and the free speech movement were all part of the recipe to make the food scene we enjoy today. Hear the stories from chefs Alice Waters, Michael Mina, Nancy Oakes, and more on Bay Area Revelations, a culinary journey, Sunday at 8 on NBC Bay Area.
Well, if you are a devotee of the culinary arts, you will enjoy that program. I got a sneak preview of it earlier this week.
It makes you hungry.
Yadier Molina, runner in scoring position, and that's ball 1 off the outside.
You know, a fly ball out to right field really took Marlon Byrd out to the warning track. There was some drift on it. We're talking about the carry on this ballpark you don't normally see, especially to right field. The Cardinals also know that Marlon Byrd does not have a great arm. They're going to take advantage of it when they can, and they just did. That had everything to do with their knowledge of his throwing arm.
2-0.
There is very little breeze here tonight, and right field really has carry to it, and you cannot say that very often.
Yadier Molina single to right, knocking in the Cardinals' first run back in the 4th inning. And that's out of play.
He's trying to go to right. But he does it well. Plus, I think he keys up for these games against the Giants. I mean, this Cardinal-Giants baseball has been good baseball for a while. It has been ever since he's been in the big leagues, and he's been a big part of it.
And of course, his oldest brother, Benji, used to play for the Giants.
Benji, a good Giant.
Section of Cardinal fans there at the park tonight. I don't know how he got that ball airborne. And Byrd has it. Pham is going to, after tagging up, go to third base. Pretty good hitting there by Yadi. And he hit that one hard into the air. So 2 down, Pham at third. And here is Colton Wong. And Matt Duffy to the mound with Leake, and now Buster Posey goes out as well. And the plate umpire, Trip Gibson, comes out. He's going to want them to move this along. Wong, this is a big play in this game. Hit what off the bat looked like a perfectly hit double play ball to end the fourth inning with the score 4-1. But Tomlinson fielded it, threw the ball to second for one, and then Adrianza could not handle it and get the throw off to first. Kind of fumbled the ball and then belatedly threw it over there, but too late. So the inning was extended, and the next batter, Piscotty, hit a 2-run double. Suddenly it was a 1-run game. 1 strike to Wong in the dirt and toward his back foot. Buster with a nice save. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And you can see where Leake's trying to get after Wong. He's trying to pound that inside corner. Back foot sliders. He's trying to run flat cut in on his hands.
That was a foul ball. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes now.
In and in again.
And it's a foul tip.
Buster's going to need some time on this one. He's taking a beating tonight. That ball came up and got him. Yeah, this is one of the bad parts about being a catcher. I mean, once in a while, you just need a little time.
Posey drops the sign. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And Long gets a piece of it again to stay alive. 6th inning, the possible tying run at third. The Dodgers have scored twice in that 6th inning against the Cubs. Second run scoring, a double play grounder. Now here comes Pham, and this game is tied. Tommy Pham, who moved up 2 bases on fly balls, and now it really has paid off. He scores on the wild pitch.
A breaking ball. Buster goes down, slides a body in front of it. Usually breaking balls are pretty predictable as to what they do. It's so frustrating for a catcher. I mean, he knows that breaking ball, especially when the pitcher's ahead the count 1-2, 0-2. He knows he's going to go down in there and try and bounce that breaking ball.
Four to 4 in the 6th inning. 2 down, nobody on. A run in. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Wong, and now he asks for timeout.
And a lot of 90-foot mistakes in this game from both teams.
Full count. Stephen Piscotty is on deck. Popped him up. Belt and Tomlinson. It will be Tomlinson. And the inning is over. But Tommy Pham turned a single into a run. It's tied up. security and storage solutions designed to simplify IT. Reclaim your network with Barracuda. 4-4 the score. The Giants, who at one point led 4-0, come to bat with Mike Leake leading it off against Waka. And a foul out of play off to the right. Leake has struck out twice in this game. That was pitch number 87 thrown by Waka. He's averaged just a little over 17 pitches per inning. And that changeup bounced foul. 0-2.
He struck out a couple times, and Waka has really pitched him beautifully. Yep, that baseball right there will drive you crazy.
Down the right field line. There's Colton Wong in foul territory. Second baseman grabs that one. And Leake is 0 for 3. That will bring up Aoki, who's giving Leake a chance to get back over to the dugout before he heads into the batter's box. Aoki has doubled to right center. And then in the third inning, he reached on an error by the third baseman Matt Carpenter, and that started a 4-run rally. He bounced one back to Waka his last time. Giants got 4 runs in the third, but all unearned. Cardinals made 2 errors to get that rally started. On 1. Cardinals are going to get somebody up in the bullpen now. Seth Maness is heading down to the St. Louis bullpen, and so too is Randy Choate. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4-4 the score. Choate, the left-hander, and Maness, who throws his first one, number 61, the right-hander.
Pitch count becoming an issue.
Another changeup. So it's 2-1 now to Aoki.
Yeah, when a guy throws 96 like Waka does, I mean, until you get to 2 strikes, you're really not going to look for anything but that. And changeup is the hardest pitch to look for. And right now, I mean, he's riding that changeup hard. But you get a sense as a pitcher as to which hitters are the guys that don't ever get off the fastball. And guys who hit on top of the lineup are guys like that. Aoki, he sits fastball most of the time.
3-2. Aoki thought maybe he had a walk there. On the inside part of the plate, 3-2 now. Carpenter hugging the third base line again. Waka in a hurry. Just in time.
That's a great play. And that gives you an idea of how athletic Michael Waka is. Now he's 6'6". Remember, now he's going to fall off towards the first base line. He's got to get unwound and come back in and very quickly get to a balance point in his back foot and get off a throw. And he does it so in a very compact motion. That's just a beautiful play.
Off the bat, you would have placed a pretty good sized bet that Aoki would have beaten that one out.
There are many 6'6" guys that can make that play. How many guys that can make that play, period? That's just a good effort.
So Waka, who has the great arm, but he does other things to help himself. And back to the changeup, and it's 0-1 to Matt Duffy, who has walked, flied out, and had an infield single. Madison Bumgarner, who also can help himself defensively, just outside with that 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Pitch number 98 thrown by Waka. 2 down, nobody on. Brandon Belt is on deck. 2-1. Again, Carpenter right on top of the line at third. I don't think we've seen teams that had their third baseman consistently play right on the line all through the game the way Carpenter has tonight.
Yeah, that's extreme. I mean, I don't know really why he's playing that close, because he has, what, 1 foot, 1 step of range to his right? Literally 1 step of range to his right. I mean, he can really only defend one way. It's to his left.
3-2.
I understand guard the line late in the game, but I mean, that's a little extreme.
Three and two the count to Matt Duffy. Along the right field line, Piscotty on the run, and he's got it. And it hit his glove when he was still in fair ground. What a play by Piscotty. And the Giants are retired.
Wow, just great concentration through the play. And you're right. If he doesn't catch that ball, it's fair.
Juan Perez with Piscotty at the plate, and Perez made one of the great plays of the year.
I mean, just incredible athleticism. He combined the Bo Jackson wall climb and the Willie Mays basket catch.
And here is Piscotty, who has a count of 0-2 while we were reminiscing about that amazing play. Piscotty has all of a sudden got a couple of strikes.
We were marveling.
The Ram Gutsy play. Ram 1500 is Green Journal's 2015 Green Truck of the Year. Guts, glory, Ram. Visit ramtrucks.com to learn more.
Guts, glory.
Two and two the count to Piscotty. As you saw Josh Osich warming up in the Giants bullpen. He'll be ready if needed. Moss, a left-handed hitter, is on deck. Posey and Belt and Leake all come over, but this one is into the crowd. Two and two to Piscotty. Piscotty, 6 feet 3 inches tall. Born across the bay in Pleasanton. And then played at Stanford. Completed his degree during the offseason last year in atmosphere and energy engineering. Here is Marlon Byrd and Piscotty retired. Piscotty went to Amador Valley High School. He got drafted by the Dodgers in 09 in the 45th round. Didn't sign? No. Has any 45th round draft choice ever failed to go to Stanford if they had the chance?
Nope.
I don't think so. That's a base hit to right field for Moss. So he went to Stanford and then was drafted in the supplemental first round in June of 2012 by the Cardinals. He was the 36th overall player chosen in that draft. So Moss aboard after Piscotty's fly ball out. Here's Mark Reynolds. And Jason Hayward has come out on deck for the Cardinals. The lower portion of the screen there to the right, with the pitcher due up next. So Mark Reynolds, the hitter. Michael Walker has thrown 102 pitches tonight, so Cardinals probably feel that's enough. One out, runner at first. Reynolds is 0 for 2. It's a strike on the outside. Dodgers ended up getting 3 runs in the 6th inning against the Cubs, and a 4-1 lead as they played the 7th inning there at Dodger Stadium on the out-of-town scoreboard. 4-4 the score here. That's a base hit. Cutter kind of hung up there a little bit, and Reynolds did not miss it. Moss stopping at second. So 2 men on, and now you've got Jason Hayward, the left-handed hitter, coming up, and Osich, the left-handed thrower, ready in the Giants bullpen.
I'm going to wait for Hayward to get announced.
And Hayward is officially in the game now. And Bruce Bochy's going to bring in Josh Osich to face him. So 2 men on with 1 man out here in the 7th inning. And Mike Leake will hand the ball to Bruce Bochy. And he will trot off the field, and he gets a nice ovation for the crowd. This one should have gone better than it did for Leake. With a threat in a tie game here in the 7th inning. 2 men on, 1 man out, and Jason Hayward off the Cardinal bench. He's the regular right fielder, the everyday right fielder for the Cardinals. So Osich comes in, and it's a tight spot here in the 7th inning.
See the year for Osich, 1-0 with a 1.880 ERA. You're going to see mid to high 90s with the fastball. He will cut a lot of fastballs. He's got a hard slider. Looks like plate umpire Trip Gibson has seen something out there. He wanted turned off in center field. But Osich will also throw a changeup. A good one, I might add.
Okay. High and tight at 95 miles an hour, and Hayward, who has that extra flap on the batting helmet.
It's just an overthrow. I mean, if you fly that front shoulder open and try and muscle up, you'll drag that arm, and then you're left-handed, you're going to miss up and into a lefty.
Out of play.
Then he paints him 96 outside corner at the knees. Welcome to the big leagues.
Moss, the runner at second. Reynolds over at first. Giants middle infielders, double play depth. Jason Hayward, acquired from Atlanta in the offseason, hitting .286. 11 home runs, .345 on base average. And that one in there for a called strike 2.
And that's the first time Hayward's ever seen the slider from Osich. And you can see the give in the front side. It buckled him.
And that's too high. Leadoff man Matt Carpenter, also a left-handed hitter, is on deck. The Giants have more action going in their bullpen. There is Hunter Strickland warming up. 2-2 the count. 2 on, 1 out. Going back in center, Blanco tagging up at second. Moss, he bluffs toward third as Blanco just off the glove of the cutoff man. Adrianza. So 2 down. So here's Matt Carpenter. Carpenter, who has been moved into the leadoff spot for the Cardinals, and yet he's their leading home run hitter. And he also leads the club in runs batted in for a team that's had a lot of injuries to some of their top RBI men. Well, here he is as the leadoff man, and he might as well be the cleanup man for this inning. 2 men on, 2 men out. He is 1 for 3 in the game. 4-4 the score. 0-1.
Good location, big velocity. 95 to run on the knees outside.
This is the first time that Carpenter has ever faced Josh Osich in a big league game. Moss with 1 out hit a single. Mark Reynolds followed that up with a single of his own. Those are the 2 base runners. Moss at second, Reynolds at first. 2 down. A little bit outside at 96.
Not by much. Just reach back and blow a 96 mile an hour fastball right through the glove. They set that target wide. It would have been a pitcher strike had they been able to get it.
One and 1 the count. Checks one. And it's ball 2.
Man, Osich a little frustrated. Going to take a bit of a walk right here. It's just body language that a rookie will give an umpire right there, just to let him know, without showing him up, that he did not agree with the calls. Agonizing for a pitcher like Mike Leake to watch. He can't do anything about it. Those 2 runners on base are his.
Two and 1 the count. Big pitch here. And it's 3-1. Mike Leake threw 94 pitches tonight. 4 runs, 6 hits allowed. The base runners, though, belong to him as well.
Yeah, he deserved a better fate. You said that he was walking off the field, and you're right on. Pitch well.
Now they'll go out of play. 3-2. Well, of course, 2 runs scored after it appeared that fourth inning was over on the double play grounder. But the Giants ended up not turning the double play. And then the extra out, Piscotty hit a 2-run double. Another run scored in the 6th inning on a base hit. A couple of fly balls on which the runner tagged up Tommy Pham, and then he scored on a wild pitch. But on another night, Buster Posey may well have blocked. That's the kind of night it was for Leake. A lot of bad luck for him. Tomlinson scoots to his left. Inning over. Great work by Josh Osich under duress. Belt, Posey, and Bird coming up.
Aquarium, dance, dash, and dive into summer with thousands of synchronized sardines in the open sea exhibit. Share the amazing, share the love at MontereyBayAquarium.org/love.
Last half of the 7th inning. It's 4-4. 41,577. The paid crowd at AT&T Park. And Michael Wacha, who was lifted for a pinch hitter, replaced on the mound, at least for one batter, by Randy Choate, left-handed specialist. The left-handed hitting Brandon Belt will lead off against him here. And then a couple of right-handed hitters, Buster Posey and Marlon Byrd. And the Cardinals have a right-hander up in the bullpen.
You get a sidearm delivery from Randy Choate, and he's really going to give you 2 looks: a sinking fastball that's mid-80s and a big frisbee slider that's flat.
Brandon Belt is 0 for 3, and it's too low. Belt is flat out to center. He was safe on the error and a dropped throw by Johnny Peralta on a would-be double play ball in the 3rd. He flied out deep to center his last time. And it's 2-0. Belt, the early part of the season, just was having a terrible time against left-handed pitching, but he has really picked that up big time in the last few weeks.
Ooh. And he was on it. Think about Brandon Belt. I don't think lefties from the side really do much to him. He doesn't have a lot of give in his front shoulder. It's pretty solid front side. And with a pitcher like Choate, you're going to see a lot of stuff away, and big guys like to get extended.
Off the left field line, foul. 2-2. Choate has not had great success against left-handed hitters this year. Lefties have a .263 batting average against him. Brandon Belt trying to get something going for the Giants. First baseman Reynolds playing deep and right close to the foul line. Look out, that hit him. Did it hit him? It missed him. How'd that miss him?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's just sort of a little frisbee, but didn't really frisbee. There's the breaking ball, kind of squirts out of his hand.
It did not get him. I thought maybe it hit one of those little ruffles on his pant leg. 3-2 the count. Right center field, base hit. First hit of the night for Brandon Belt, and here comes Mike Matheny with a couple of right-handed hitters coming up. He's got the right-hander Manus ready in the bullpen, and he makes the signal for him. So Manus will come in from the bullpen to face Buster Posey when we come back. Mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV. Premium every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. I bet he's getting some great shots tonight.
He's getting a good shot of that guy's mustache. That's a big league mustache. Seth Manus, a new pitcher now for the Cardinals, coming into his 63rd game, 4-1 with a 3.88 ERA.
Buster along the left field line, foul. Well down the line too. And that one, the ball is carrying well. Manus appeared last night, and he was the key man for the Cardinals. They were trying to protect a lead in the 8th inning. He came in with the bases loaded and nobody out, and he got out of it. Nobody scored. Strike 2 called.
Sinker coming back into the strike zone. I'm not going to give you a lot of velocity. Manus is right around 90 with everything he throws, but it sinks, it cuts. Curveball, slider, changeup. And he's got great command.
In center field, over toward right center. Buster Posey retired. He is 0 for 3. Belt back to first. And here comes Marlon Byrd. Byrd has accounted for all of the Giants' runs with one swing of his bat in the 3rd inning. He came up with the bases loaded, a couple of errors, and then Buster Posey hit by a pitch. The Giants had them loaded, and Bird hit one over the center field wall to the left of straightaway. His only hit of the night. And it's 0-1. Bird has only 5 at-bats lifetime against Manus, but has 2 hits in those 5 at-bats, 1 a home run. Third baseman Carpenter hugging the foul line here late in the game. 4-4 the score as Belt is back to first.
Cardinals have prevent defense out there in the outfield. It's doubles defense. They do not want a ball to get by them, so you're going to see them set a very, very deep positioning, and that's about as deep as you can get.
1 ball, 1 strike to Bird.
You just don't want to see a ball get through the gap.
A little electrical surge there. The scoreboard is off, and then we get another one. The lights all still appear to be on, but we have a couple of moments there. So we're going to continue on.
Now they're rebooting the center field scoreboard, and there's things flashing, and it's a distraction if you're in that batter's box.
1-1 the count. And one at second, and a double play. So another great performance by Seth Manus. And we move to the 8th inning. Pham, Peralta, Yadier Molina coming up. As we head to the 8th inning, and Sergio Romo has come in from the Giants bullpen. Cardinals have 3 right-handed hitters in a row due up here. There's Sergio's numbers, and he's been extremely tough on right-handers, as has been the case throughout his career.
Yeah, you're right. Righty's hitting a .159, lefty's .426. 2 types of fastball, a slider, and a changeup.
Tommy Pham, and that's a strike. Fastball on the outside. Tommy Pham got the Cardinals a tying run almost as a solo performance in the 6th inning when he led off with a single. A slider. It's 0-2.
Such a great view to be able to see the pitch performance from Romo's slider. And really, I believe he's got better command of the slider than he does the fastball. And he commands the fastball beautifully.
And the scoreboard has been reactivated.
Yeah, right in the middle of the pitch, too. Tommy Pham had a light show going on behind center field wall.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Tomlinson, 1 away. Pham, a good man to keep off the bases in that 6th inning. He singled, and then he tagged up and moved to second on a fly ball to deep right. Here's what happened. Look at the scoreboard up above there.
I guess he can't get too mad. I mean, it's his own picture. Come on.
Wow, who is that good-looking guy?
That's exactly what he was thinking.
Here's Johnny Peralta, who's 0 for 3. And it's ball 1.
Javier Lopez starting to get heated.
Peralta 0 for 4 in this game. Right in there for a called strike. Johnny Peralta was a Detroit Tiger for the 2012 World Series. So he saw a little bit of Sergio Romo, who that year was the Giants' closer. Another fastball, and it's 1-2.
So this is when Bird was hitting and the scoreboard goes out. Just, boosh, what was that? Divine intervention.
A ball and 2 strikes to Johnny Peralta. Off the outside. 2-2. Peralta 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. The little bit he's seen of Sergio Romo. 4-4, 8th inning. 1 out, nobody on. Struck him out. 2 down.
Well, tune in to CSN Bay Area tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 for Giants pregame live before Game 2 of this series. It'll be Lance Lynn on the hill for the Cardinals taking on Ryan Vogelsong for the Giants. We will be back with you on NBC Bay Area and the Giants Television Network Saturday, September 12th at 6 p.m. as the Giants will take on the Padres.
So here's Yadier Molina. He singled home a run back in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. 2 down, nobody on. He had a mighty cut on that slider.
He was trying to hit the Coke bottle with that swing.
Well, he has had a lot of success against Romo. 6 hits and 11 career at bats, 2 doubles and a homer. As Jonathan Broxton heats up in the Cardinal bullpen. How many right-handed hitters have those kind of numbers against Sergio Romo?
Not many, especially with power.
Adrianza. 3 up, 3 down. Strong 8th inning for Sergio. Blanco, Tomlinson, Adrianza due up. Last of the 8th.
amount of injuries that the Giants are dealing with, that skipper Bruce Bochy's job would become pretty challenging. But he said exactly the opposite the other day. He said it's actually not challenging at all because there are so many moves you cannot make. He said it's easier. You just go with the guys that you've got, hope they find a way. And he went on to say they've certainly been doing that on this homestand. Gentlemen.
All right, Amy, thank you. Good information as Bruce Bochy gets ready for his team to bat here against Jonathan Broxton, the former Dodger, who has been well traveled since his Dodger days. 4.82 earned run average this year as both a Brewer and now a Cardinal. Left-handed hitters have hit well against him. Right-handed hitters he's done a great job with. The Giants have the left-handed hitting Blanco to lead off against him here.
Still a hard thrower, mid to high 90s. You're also going to see a lot of cutters, a lot of sliders. But he has a power arm, and he has been since the day he first got to the big leagues.
Blanco 1 for 3 in the game. The bunt up the first base line. Broxton down the right field line, and Blanco heads for second. Gregor Blanco, he's done that a couple of times, and the Giants wouldn't mind if he did it a little more often even.
Yeah, I think that had Broxton had a chance to do this all over again, he may have let this thing roll. I think he makes 2 errors, one mentally and the other one a physical error. Mentally, by not letting this ball run foul. And then here he tries an impossible play and just sugar flips it one into the right field side, and it was an easy 90-foot mistake for Blanco to take advantage of. And just like that, the Giants get a runner in scoring position here with nobody out to start things off in the 8th.
So Tomlinson comes up. He's been swinging the bat well lately. Do you have him lay one down?
I'd be surprised with how Adrian's has been swinging the bat. I don't think they're going to let him swing away.
He's been a hot hitter. On 1.
This ball really was. It had some steam on it as it's getting over that neck of the woods. That ball's going to go foul in all likelihood. And this would have been an unbelievable play, but he just kind of makes a couple of bad decisions.
One of his mistakes was greatly overrating his defensive ability, I think. Oh, this one, I can do this.
Yeah, I got this one. It's all mine.
This is right here. It's right in front of me. I got this guy.
But now the Giants have to take advantage of it.
1 ball, 1 strike to Tomlinson, who has walked, singled, and been called out on strikes. Slashes that one foul. It was a breaking ball that just sat up there. He drilled it hard, but foul.
That's how a high breaking ball should get hit. Loudly. Best arm in the outfield for the Cardinals is in right field with Piscotty. And the Cardinals are playing a shallow set across the board. They're not respecting Tomlinson's power at all.
If he went into the gap in right center, he can run all night. Back out of play.
These are the things that you have to kind of put in the database if you're Roberto Kelly, the Giants' third base coach. And you're looking at where they're playing, who's got the best arms, and then it's a matter of how hard the ball's hit and if it's at him or not. If they have to go left or right, it increases the opportunity for a runner to score. And remember, Blanco at second base has good speed.
One ball, 2 strikes. And that is fouled into the upper reaches of AT&T Park. Justin Maxwell in the dugout with a bat. Adrianza's on deck, and then the pitcher's spot after that. Giants with a short-handed bench to begin with the extra pitcher, and then one of those four is not available, Brandon Crawford. Very high. 2-2. Tomlinson, there's some aspects of his game that, although he hasn't been there that long, it kind of reminds you a little bit of Matt Duffy in terms of the way he seems to be calm, he's confident, and he is pretty good with 2 strikes. Ice water in his veins.
Well, I mean, that wasn't out by much. It indeed was off the plate away, but about 4 inches. And Yadier Molina is definitely lobbying for that pitch. And you see how Molina will move that target wide, and when he doesn't move the glove, it's inviting, and a lot of umpires will bite.
Three and 2. He walked him.
Great at bat.
That was the 8th pitch of the sequence, and he coaxes a walk out of Broxton. 2 men on with nobody out.
So you saw Mike Matheny, the skipper for the Cardinals, alerting everybody that this is going to be a bunt defense we're going to employ here. Santiago Casilla heading down to the Giants bullpen. Bunt should go down the third base line. You've got good speed on the base pass with Blanco and Tomlinson, and good speed in the batter's box with Adrianza.
Well, that will get it done. Broxton throws him out. Wong covering at first. Blanco to third. Tomlinson to second.
Outstanding effort by Adrianza to get it done, and he does it in 1 pitch. And I've always believed that fuels the rhythm of an inning. Keeps the thought positive.
Andrew Susac will come up.
Watch his eyes get big as that ball comes in. Deaden it right off the end of the bat. Can't do any better than that. Just get it away from Molina. And he did.
Cardinals infield is in here in the last of the 8th. 4-4 the score. Aoki is on deck. Susac, the pinch hitter, 236 average. Check swing. Ball 1.
He's got a base to play with. He didn't really have to come at him if he didn't want to. He could nibble away. Guy who's got strikeout ability. I mean, I know you say, wait, you're going to use that base? There's already a runner at third base. Less than 2 outs. So first base means nothing. It's one he can use.
One and one.
And that's his best slider right there. So he really, in essence, he showed him his breaking ball in his punch-out pitch early in the count. And from Susac's perspective, he just saw the pitch he's going to try and strike him out with early. Second time you see it, it's not as easy to fool a hitter.
Time taken. Yadier Molina is going to go out to the mound. The rest of the infield is also going to become part of this meeting.
Molina's looking at Tomlinson, and he may suspect Tomlinson for tip and sign. If you're going to tip anything, it's not going to be the pitch. It's going to be location if you're the runner at second. I doubt if he is, but you get a little skeptical if you're the catcher.
One and one the count. Runners at second and third. And a fastball over the outside. Strike 2 called. 96 miles an hour. That you got a little extra on that one. The Giants have Casilla, the right-hander, and Javier Lopez, the left-hander, warming up in their bullpen. Susac behind in the count. 2-2.
Now, Broxton likes that outside part of the plate anyway, and he's going to try and pound the outside paralysis, fastballs that are 2 or 3 or 4 inches off the plate away with a little cut moving away from Susak, or if he throws a breaking ball, it's going to fall out of the strike zone. I doubt if he's going to throw him a pitch in the strike zone. But you can look away.
Struck him out.
And he got him to chase. And that was the strikeout he was pitching for.
2 down.
Just a power slider, and he puts it right out in the outside corner and lets the movement fall out of the zone. So Matheny's going to come out and talk to Broxton and basically say, you have a base here. You can decide as to who you want to pitch to. You never really worry too much about Broxton throwing strikes. So if you use this base by way of an unintentional intentional walk and not give Aoki anything to hit, he takes the walk. Matheny's not worried about Broxton throwing strikes when the base is loaded.
Aoki has had 3 other at-bats against Broxton in the past, and he's had 2 hits against him. So there's not a whole lot of past experience there, but he has seen him and succeeded against him. Duffy, the man on deck, a right-handed hitter, has seen him 1 time and struck out against him. Infield back normal depth now, although they're not all the way back in the middle of the field with the speedy Aoki up there in the dirt, blocked by Molina.
Pressure's on Molina here. One of the better ball blockers in the game, though.
Aoki has doubled to right center, been safe in an error by Carpenter. That started a 4-run 3rd inning rally, and twice has hit the ball back to the pitcher since then. 1 hit, 4 at bats. 2-0.
Giving him a whole lot to hit.
Matt Duffy on deck. Blanco at 3rd, Tomlinson at 2nd, both fast runners. Cardinal outfield pushed toward the left field side against Aoki. 2-0. Now 2-1.
Keep pounding him on one side of the plate and staying away from him. He will go to left field. And with Anderson, the third baseman, playing even on the grass, respecting the bunt, I mean, it is a side of the field. He can slap a ball by and cash in with an RBI. Carpenter right even on the grass at third base.
2-1 the count now. Ooh, very close. 3-1.
Does not have to throw a strike here. He wanted that ball up. Winds up splitting right between the knee pads, shin guards.
3-1 the count. And Aoki backs away. The flags out in right field and right center indicate now the wind is, and it's not a real strong wind, but what there is of it blowing out toward left field.
You watch Molina. I mean, he'll set up on that outside corner and he'll point that left shoulder a little bit towards the pitcher, kind of frame that corner in prior to the pitch. Now, if you're Aoki, you're thinking, wait a second. I've seen 2 pitches in the exact same spot. One's a strike, one's a ball. See the shoulder there, just the way he sort of angles his chest so he can catch that ball and frame it, give that umpire a better look. It's one of his tricks.
3-2 now. And a check swing. An appeal, no. So it's a walk. Sam Holbrook, the third base umpire, said no swing. The bases are loaded for Matt Duffy.
Yeah, I think Broxton pitched him beautifully. And he was about 4 inches on a check swing away from getting him on that changeup. He had a base to play with, and that's how you use it. And there's Duffy's soulmate.
Hadn't realized that she had made it over here tonight, so glad to see her. Blanco at third. Tomlinson at second. Aoki at first. Three of the Giants' fastest runners all on base at the same time. 4-4 the score, and it's 0-1. Duffy has walked and had an infield single in 4 plate appearances. He has hit .538, 7 hits, 13 at bats, with 14 runs batted in with the bases loaded this year.
He's going to sit on that outside corner, and he's got a great approach to right field.
And the save by Yadier Molina with the speedy Blanco at third. One strike to count to Matt Duffy. Cardinal bullpen gets busy again. Carlos Villanueva has started to warm up. Duffy hitting .306 for the year. And that's strike 2 call.
Just shaving that outside corner with that slider. See the eye on the slider, little circle. Not a big break, but just absolute precision command.
3 men on, all ready to run at the crack of the bat with 2 down. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Out of play. That was the 26th pitch thrown in this inning by Broxton. Marlon Byrd had a grand slam back in the 3rd inning. The last time the Giants had the bases loaded. Matt Duffy has been an excellent 2-strike hitter for the Giants all year. In a hole, 1 ball, 2 strikes here. Struck him out. Powered the fastball by him and reached back for a little extra. 97 miles an hour. On to the 9th inning. Javier Lopez coming in. Central every night at 10:30. Comcast Sportsnet, authentic Bay Area sports. Javier Lopez in for the Giants bullpen for the 9th inning. 4-4 the score here at AT&T Park. Giants had a great opportunity in the 8th inning. They had Blanco at second, nobody out, and Tomlinson drew a walk. And 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, but they could not get anybody home. So here is Colton Wong. He's 0 for 3. Shows bunt, takes. Strike one call. Santiago Casilla, the Giants closer, a right-hander warming up in the bullpen. When you're at home and the game is tied in the ninth inning, there will be no save opportunities on a night like that. There's a called strike two. Cardinals, by the way, are without their regular closer, Trevor Rosenthal, who's on a childbirth leave. Brandon Bell over to get it and takes it himself. Wong is 0 for 4. Stephen Piscotty comes up now. In the 6th inning, he made a sensational play on Matt Duffy's fly ball.
Oh, he really did. I mean, it had come a long way. And there's no margin for error. If that ball drops, it's extra bags, maybe 3 bags. Michael Wacha, loving every bit of that one. It's a good play.
Piscotty had a 2-run double back in the 4th inning. And that's a base hit to right. So he's 2 for 4. And it will bring up Brandon Moss, the left-handed hitter. Four to 4 in the 9th inning. I guess both clubs are sort of unhappy about some defensive miscues earlier in this game, which cost them both big time.
Oh, you're right. There was one inning where both teams did not play well defensively.
Cardinals made a couple of errors in the 3rd inning. The Giants ended up getting 4 unearned runs on the grand slam by Marlon Byrd, but the very next inning, the Giants did not turn a double play that would have ended the inning with a score 4-1, and then Piscotty came up and hit the 2-run double, made him pay for it immediately. Caught by Tomlinson, double play. The Cardinals want to have a look at the video room for the play at first base, but the leaping catch by Tomlinson and then the very quick throw to first, beautifully done. Did he get him? He got him.
Got him. Couldn't get down on the ground fast enough to get this throw off. He's out. He is OUT.
David Bell talking to the video room in the Cardinal clubhouse here. They finally have given it up. We're going to the last of the 9th inning. Belt, Posey, and Marlon Byrd coming up. Brandon Belt, Buster Posey, Marlon Byrd is the three due-up hitters. The Cardinals go to the left-hander Kevin Segrist. Remember, their closer is not here, Trevor Rosenthal, on a paternity leave. Segrist has had an outstanding year. This is his 64th game. And those numbers kind of speak for themselves as to how tough he has been.
Well, 70 strikeouts and 58 in the third. But look what lefties do against him, hitting .302. And he's actually done well against righties and not lefties. Good power arm, mid to high 90s, hard slider, and a changeup.
A little bit low to Brandon Belt. Belt is 1 for 4. He singled back in the 7th inning. There's Buster Posey on deck. Two and 0. Segrist with 70 strikeouts in 58 and a third innings, so real tough to hit. 20 walks, so just a little over 3 walks per 9 innings. The batting average against him by all comers is only .202, but as you said, Mike, lefties hitting just a little over 300.
Now, you saw the ranks of the pitching stats. Overall, the ERA, the Cardinals combining their starters and their relievers, they lead the league in baseball, or at least lead the league in the National League. Starters lead the league of the National League. Relievers alone, they lead the league of the National League.
That's a base hit. First baseman Reynolds was over guarding the line against the possible extra base hit, and Belt took advantage of that.
Bell has got 2 hits tonight. He's got one off each of the left-handed relievers they have in that bullpen. One off Randy Choate, and here off Segrist to start things off for the Giants. See the shift. Reynolds protecting the line. If he's at normal positioning, he makes that play in all likelihood.
Buster Posey. Posey 0 for 3 and was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the third. Off the glove of Molina. Pounces on it, ready to throw. Belt was not tempting fate there. You mentioned the Cardinal pitching. The Cardinals lead this league and every other league. The only team even somewhat in the ballpark with the Cardinals team ERA, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Cardinals 2.66, the Pirates 3.12. And it's been a long time since a team has been this deep in the season with a team earned run average in the 2.6s.
Yeah, it's amazing. Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, has really done a nice job with these Cardinals.
And they lost their ace, Adam Wainwright. He made 4 starts earlier this year and was pitching great. And then the injury. Way outside.
Easy take there. As we mentioned, Segrist has 3 types of pitches: a fastball, slider, and a changeup. You're going to see more changeups to righties, more sliders to lefties.
Two 2-0 the count. Changed up.
And that was the changeup we're talking about. Not afraid to throw it 2-0. If you're going to be a reliever in the back end of a bullpen, you're going to set up and pitch late, and you have to be able to get these pitches over behind the count. And that's a beautiful changeup in a 2-0 count.
2-1 to Buster. Third baseman Carpenter, deep and right on the foul line. Three and 1. Fastball down and in.
And they set that target away too. That was completely the opposite side of the plate from where they wanted it to go. That ball had cut, and I don't think that's the kind of movement that he wanted to throw. Every once in a while, your hand will slide off a ball and you'll lose command of it. You'll lose a pitch.
3-1 to Buster Posey. Again, not close. He tried that changeup. So 2 men on. The possible winning run moves over to second base in the scoring position with nobody out. And Marlon Byrd coming up as Yadier Molina out to conference with Segrist.
And you saw the strikeout totals that he had, 70 strikeouts in 58 innings. And this is a strikeout situation. You have a runner at second base, nobody out. You know Bird's not going to go up there and bunt. And from Segrist's perspective, he's going to try and strike him out.
Giants have 4 runs tonight. It's a 4-4 tie. And all 4 of the runs were driven in by Marlon Byrd with a home run back in the 3rd inning. His 8th career grand slam. He has not had a hit against Segrist in 5 previous plate appearances against him. Very high.
Underneath that changeup, had a little push in his delivery.
Brandon Belt, the possible winning run at second base. Cardinals middle infielders, Peralta at short, Wong at second, double play depth. Shallow right to Scotty. And Belt had to hurry back to second. Bird retired. And now Blanco. Giants have had 1 hit in 8 at-bats as a team, with runners in scoring position in this game, and that was the grand slam by Bird back in the 3rd. Blanco has had 2 hits in his return to the lineup after the hip strain had put him on the shelf for a couple of days. He had a drag bunt hit his last time. And again, Molina out to talk to Segrist. Not this time for Marlon Byrd. So Blanco, a left-handed hitter. The only left-handed hitter of the inning so far. Belt hit a single to right. And that, for whatever reason, has been the Achilles heel for Segrist this year. Lefties have hit pretty well against him. Just off the outside, apparently.
Yeah, he wanted it. Cardinals really jammed the outfield in left and in center. They pinched the gap in left center. And they're playing him to go to that side of the field, which he does a lot against lefties. And one of his strengths this year.
2 men on, 1 man out. Last of the 9th. Low to the outside.
And they don't have an open base here. That third base is not open to a walk. He has to get in that strike zone.
Kelby Tomlinson is on deck.
And that bullpen is dried up.
Matheny going with Segrist. Come what may. 3-0. There's Tomlinson on deck. One more wide one, and this game will come to Kelby Tomlinson. 3-0 the count. And he walked him.
Not close. Easy takes. And that is a huge mistake from Segrist. With 1 out, you don't want to ever give a team a runner at third base by way of a walk.
So they're going to conference here, and Matheny is signaling to his left fielder, Brandon Moss. So Matheny himself goes out here, and he may be bringing in an extra man on the infield. So all of the infielders and the catcher, plus the left fielder, Brandon Moss, gather at the mound here to receive instructions from the skipper himself.
Well, I always thought it was a pretty good play if you had a guy that could put the ball on the ground. Moss going to go get another glove. But it basically tells you what to look for if you're a hitter. if you're Seegers, especially early in the count, you're going to throw two-seam fastballs and hard sliders down and in, trying to get that ball hit on the ground. From Tomlinson's perspective, he's trying to do the opposite. He's trying to get a pitch that's up that he can get in the air in the outfield deep enough to score that runner. Now with Belt at third base, he's got a little bit better than average speed. But you're going to need at least medium depth on the fly ball of the outfield. And if you hit a medium fly ball to right field, there's no guarantee that Roberto Kelly will send him because of the arm strength of Piscotty and Wright.
The Cardinals are going to apparently keep Reynolds at first base. Reynolds, who can also play third base. And with the right-handed hitter up there, the Cardinals will put Moss sort of up the middle. So Tomlinson, who came up with the bases loaded yesterday in the 8th inning and hit a grand slam. A ball hit well to the outfield could suffice one day later. Cardinals with 5 infielders and only 2 outfielders. And none of them are in left field, although the center fielder Pham is well over toward left center. Of course, the outfielders have to be in to a spot where they can catch the ball and keep Brandon Belt from scoring. So the infield and the outfield in. So here we go. Low. Patience has been a virtue against Segrist.
Predictably low the zone. A nice take.
Tomlinson has walked twice already tonight, plus a base hit. He's been on base 3 times in 4 trips. And there for a strike. And Tomlinson, you think he wishes he would have swung at that one?
Well, I just don't think he feels that way. He's not really intimidated once he gets into a 2-strike count. I think he was going to put the pressure on the pitch and make him throw a strike. Now he's seen 2 pitches. He's measured him. Now he's ready to rake.
1-2.
93 little cut fastball and a beauty right in on the inside corner. That broke both elbows down for Tomlinson.
Adrianza, the switch hitter, is on deck. Should Tomlinson not be able to get a run home. He's behind in the count, 1-2. Going in, 2-2.
4 pitches, 4 fastballs. He has not shown him the changeup. He has not shown him the slider.
Everybody standing here at AT&T Park on Orange Friday, a sea of orange, and they're hoping to see the Giants get the winning run right here. 2-2 the count. Kelby Tomlinson trying to knock it in. Up the middle. He has done so. The ball game is over, and the Giants have beaten the Cardinals 5-4. And Kelby Tomlinson, the rookie, given an opportunity at the big league level because of injury, and he is making good on this great opportunity after all those years in the minor leagues, big time.
Basically saying, I don't ever want to go back. And what a great at bat to do it in a 2-strike count. Really, Geary, you're at bat right back up the middle. A fastball right over the middle, just over the glove of Segrist into center field. And everybody here goes home happy. What a night for the kid. 2 walks, 2 knocks, and this is the one that was the money hit.
5-4 Giants over the Cardinals. Kelby Tomlinson, what a night for him. Facing the team the Giants defeated in the league championship series last year, which he may have watched on television. But Kelby Tomlinson right in the thick of it tonight, and he continues to get it done. Kelby Tomlinson gets the Giants their 5th walk-off victory here in 2015, and this one ends up going to the Giants. Belt started the inning with a single, and then he scores the winning run on Tomlinson's single And he got it through that overloaded infield of the Cardinals. So Kelby Tomlinson, and the excitement and the great moments continue. Let's go down to Amy G with Kelby.
All right, thank you so much, John and Kelby. You just keep coming through. You're having quite the season so far in your short time with the Giants. Let's just go through your at-bat there. Clearly, all the pressure is on the Cardinals in that situation. What's your mindset going in? Bases loaded. You were in a 2-strike count.
Yeah, I knew that he was going to have to come at me and challenge me. And that first pitch he threw me, his fastball really snuck on me, and he got it in on me another time. And he had some good run, and man, it was sneaking in there. And so I didn't know if he was going to stick with it or switch to an off speed and try to get me to chase. But fortunately for me, he left one out over the plate.
You guys jump way ahead with Bird's grand slam, and the Cardinals come back. There's a reason why the Giants and the Cardinals are NLCS rivals time and time again. What does a win over the team with the best record in baseball do for this team's confidence in such a critical time of the season?
Yeah, I mean, that's an unbelievable win to come back after having the lead and then them coming back. And they're a great team, and they're going to battle. And these are two teams that are going to fight every night out and put everything they have on the line.
Okay. Really fast, you surprise us each game. Who knew you had hops like that? Do you play basketball too?
No, I don't get to play too much basketball, but I did it when I was younger. But yeah, pretty cool play that I got to make.
Second career. John and Mike, let's get it up to you.
All right, Amy, and congratulations to Kelby Tomlinson, who has become the man of the hour for the Giants, and it's really an incredible story.
Well, that last at bats really tells you all you need to know about this guy. I mean, number one, he's up there with bases loaded, and for a lot of rookies, I mean, they don't want to get into a hole, especially against a guy that they don't know. Now, Sechrist, he's a strikeout guy, 70 strikeouts in 58 innings coming into this, and so Tomlinson takes a strike. It's a 1-1 count. Then he swings through one, and you heard him talk about it. He hadn't thrown me an off-speed pitch, basically disciplined himself to the middle of the field, gets the one pitch, and beats him with it.
What a night. The Giants take game 1 from the Cardinals, their 3rd consecutive win. For more on tonight's game, tune in to Sportsnet Central on Comcast Sportsnet, and tune in to CSN Bay Area tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 for Giants pregame live before game 2 of the series. We'll be back with you on NBC Bay Area and the Giants Television Network on Saturday the 12th at 6 p.m. for the Giants and Padres. For Mike Krukow and Amy G, I'm John Miller. The Giants beat the Cardinals. Good night from San Francisco.